Hello students, I am Dipti Santosh from St. Thomas College, Bhilai, faculty from Education Department. Today I am going to deal with B.Ed second sem course matter, and from that I am going to tell you about Amartya Sen and his capability approach. Amartya Sen is a famous Indian economist and philosopher. He was born on 3rd November 1933. He was born on 3rd November 1933. His father's name was Ashutosh Sen. He was a professor of chemistry in Dhaka University. And he was also chairman of UPSC West Bengal. His mother's name was Amita Sen. They initially lived in Dhaka, Bangladesh. They moved to West Bengal in 1945. But since 1972, Amartya Sen taught and worked in India, United Kingdom and United States. Amartya Sen spent his childhood days in Dhaka and did his formal education at St. Gregorius School. Later, when they shifted to Calcutta, Bengal, Sen did his schooling from Shanti Niketan, that is Rabindranath Tagore School, where his educational attitudes were formed and emphasis was on fostering curiosity rather than competitive excellence, and any kind of interest in examination, performance and grades was seriously discouraged. And I think that is a very healthy attitude, because if education system is going to give emphasis on the evaluation process than examination, then it is actually developing a child potentials. Now, he studied, or in 1951, he did BA in economics from Presidency College, Calcutta. Later, that is 1951, he did his BA in economics. Then in 1953, what happened? In 1953, he moved to Trinity College in Cambridge. He moved to Trinity College in Cambridge. And what he did? There also he did BA in economics. He did BA in economics. Now you may be asking me why he has already done BA in economics in Presidency College, Calcutta, then again in Trinity he did BA in economics. But the difference was that BA in economics in Presidency College was not pure BA in economics, it was combined with mathematics. But once he moved to Trinity College, Cambridge, he did his BA in economics, pure economics. Okay, then he's also taught in that college. Then in 1963, he left Cambridge. Then what happened? Then he joined Delhi University and taught there until 1971. He left Cambridge and joined Delhi University, and he was there until 1971. And in 1971, he also taught in the London School of Economics. Okay, in 1971, he taught in London School of Economics. Then where else? Then Oxford University, and on a visiting basis in MIT, then Stanford, then Berkeley and Cornell. These were the universities he has taught. So many. Then Stanford, Berkeley, and MIT, one of world's great. This university is the largest university in the world, that is MIT. And in 1959, he had his PhD in economics. Okay, so this way his academic development was very fast, and he was a genius. And he had lot of contributions. What were his contributions? He has great contributions. He has got contributions to the world and authored many books, and that propagated so many novel theories which opened the eyes of many sociologists and economists. Many people in the all over the world started taking his views or started following his views, because he has propagated so many novel theories. And one of the novel theories today I am going to deal with is capability approach of Amartya Sen. Okay, then he got his Nobel Prize in 1998. In 1998, he got his Nobel Prize. For what he got Nobel Prize? For his works in welfare economics and social choice theory. He propounded, because he showed lot of interest in the problems of the society's poorest members, the poor people. He was really concerned about their pathetic condition, and he really proposed so many or propounded so many theories related to those poor members of the society to really improve their condition. Then for that he got his Nobel Prize. Then he got the highest civilian award, that is Bharat Ratna, in 1999. 1999 he got the Bharat Ratna. That is the highest civilian award. Like that, his contributions were in economics and social justice. His books were economic theories of famine, indices of the measures of well-being of citizens of developing countries. Like that, he has contributed so many books, and he has developed so many theories. In 1981, his book Poverty and Famine, an essay on entitlement and deprivation, was very famous. He gave so many theories, fresh, new, novel ideas about poverty. And in 2009, his book, The Idea of Justice, he gave so many novel ideas how to improve the conditions, unequal conditions in the society, how to improve the poor situation in the society between the rich and the poor. They should have some justice. So here, when I want to explain you about his book Idea of Justice, I have to take the example of one philosopher, that is John Rawls, because just to make you understand clearly about Amartya Sen's principles. Here, let's talk about John Rawls' principles. He was also a philosopher, a great philosopher. So Sen criticized him for his book, John Rawls' books, The Theory of Justice. In that, he has given one or two principles. First principle was, there should be equality and liberty. First principle was, there should be equality and liberty. Equality and liberty. That was John Rawls' principle. he agreed to this principle because he also says, Amartya Sen also says, yes, there should not be too much of inequality in the society. That should be corrected, because he takes an example of a rickshaw puller and the rich people in a society. See the condition of a rickshaw puller. He works hard, really hard, and earns very little, and he has a lot of trouble life and hard life. And just take an example of a rich person. He lives in a bungalow, drives AC cars, very comfortable life. He had to put very little effort, and like all those things. So what do you see? Extreme inequality between the rich and the poor. So that is very unjust. So here Amartya Sen agrees to Ross philosophy. But the second philosophy of Ross, there should be distribution of wealth. There should be distribution of wealth. Distribution of wealth. Here Amartya Sen disagree with Ross. What Ross says, that government should introduce some welfare schemes through rich people's income. That is, these rich people have so much of money that he should make some, government should introduce or tax these rich people to introduce some policies or schemes for the poor people, just to subsidize this inequality issues. So, but here Amartya Sen says these is totally wrong, because he disagrees to this Ross views, because he says make them capable. It's not wealth, distribution of wealth, which will give the solution for this problem. He says, he disagrees, he says make them capable, make the people capable. Why he says so? Why he says so? If we feed the poor, because if we feed the poor, if we always lend them money, if we always have the attitude of helping them only, then what happens? Again and again he will be begging, or he will never be able to become self-reliant or able, because he will develop a habit of extending whenever they need a help. So he want to stop this attitude, that you are not making that person self-reliant. You are making that person disabled, and he will always depend on the persons above him for some help. Then that economy or the society is never going to improve. The inequality or the disparity between the rich and poor will remain the same for long years. So he disagreed for Ross' theory that there should be distribution of wealth, but he said that there should not be distribution of wealth, but we should make the people capable, so that we should make them or train to make him living or self-reliant. Again, in 1999, his book Development of Freedom, he introduced his book Development of Freedom in 1999. Okay, in that he talks about 5 parameters of freedom. What are the 5 parameters of freedom? 5 parameters of freedom may be: first is political freedom, second is economic freedom, third is social freedom, fourth is freedom of transparency. Transparency here means everything, people should come to know what's happening. It means right to know all these things. Then protective freedom. He talks about all these freedom. These freedom should be, he gave emphasis to freedom of all these issues, because that is going to make them much more capable, able. Sense is, if we change educational reforms. That is, educational reforms. If we do educational reforms, then political reforms. He gives importance to all these things, and health reforms. And health reforms. These are the major issues of the society, isn't it? Educational, where we make the society through the coming generation, fresh generation, and the political reforms. Why? Because the policies of the agendas of the country are made, and health reforms, because the country should be very healthy. People or individuals should be fit and fine and healthy, or then only they will have the able, fit mind and body to give their best. So he says, when there is educational reform, political reform, and health reforms, then the country will definitely change. There's a possibility of a positive change in the society. So Amartya Sen was called as a welfare economist. Now, why he was called as a welfare economist? That is why he got the Nobel Prize. Okay, why he is called a welfare economist? Because Amartya Sen was the first economist to relate economics with the happy life or welfare of the individuals. He was always concerned of the happy life and welfare of the individual. If there is economics, then there should be definitely happy life of the individual should be connected with them. That is, he developed and suggested theories for the well-being of the individuals. He was called welfare because he suggested theories for the well-being of the individuals. First for that, and secondly for showing his interest in the problems of society's poorest member. Showing interest in society's poorest members of the society. Okay, because of these two factors, he was called as a welfare economist. Amartya Sen was best known for his work on the cause of famine, and he says famine is not caused because of poverty, but in unequal distribution of wealth. So Amartya Sen is concerned with a practical approach of justice, that is concerned with the elimination of all forms of, he believed in practical approach of justice and believed in elimination of all kinds of injustice in the society. It is here that Sen develops what? Capability approach. Why Sen developed capability approach? Because he want to eliminate all kinds of injustice through a kind of practical approach. So it is here that Sen develops capability approach as an alternative and new tool for evaluating issues like poverty, development, well-being, and equality. So this capability approach was articulated by Amartya Sen in which year? 1980s. Amartya Sen articulated this capability approach in which year? In 1980s. But before we talk about capability approach, let's understand what is this capability. So what is this capability? Capability, before understanding capability approach, let us understand what is this capability. Capability is a quality of being able to do something. It is a capability, is the ability to do things and to choose for a way of life according to one's personal value. Now, what is approach? Approach, that is, this is a capability is the quality of being able to do something. That is, able to do something. Okay, then what is approach? Approach is to deal with a problem or situation, tackle the things, deal with a Capability approach means able to do something, and that also deal with a problem or something, that means in a better way. That is therefore capability approach means it is a function of choice and capability. Function of choice and capability. So capability approach means function of choice and capability. Function of choice here means functioning, and capability means effective freedom. Here Amartya Sen gives importance to freedom. So capability approach is a function of choice and capability, that is effective freedom. So what he says, according to him, every person should have functional freedom. So here Amartya Sen gives importance to freedom, functional freedom. That is very important. Functional freedom. Why? Which means to do what one wants to do, but at the same time he should have the ability or the capability or capacity to do what he wants. So here functional freedom means what? To do what he wants to do, but at the same time he should have the ability or capacity to do what he wants to do. Amartya Sen defines development as freedom. Development as freedom. I will tell you this in detail. And true freedom is possible only when we provide opportunities for human development. Freedom is possible when we provide opportunities. So opportunities is very much there. That is why we are going. We emphasis in Amartya Sen's theory equality of opportunities. So he says development is freedom, and true freedom happens when you give opportunities for human development. Opportunities for human development. That is the actual meaning. When there is no human development, there is no meaning in this freedom. So freedom happens when you are giving opportunities to human development. How this human development is possible? How is this possible? Yes, you are giving opportunities, but how this human development is possible? That is through the basic constituents of human development, that is literacy, health, political empowerment. That is, human development is possible to the basic constituents like literacy, health, and political empowerment. So here, have you noticed literacy means educational, it is concerned with education. Health is related with society, then political empowerment, all these things, whatever is that, this literacy, health and political empowerment, if you provide these things, then naturally development is possible. When development is possible, then naturally this freedom happens because of this human, if you give the freedom, then only human development is possible. Then his books, as I already told, Development of Freedom, he has expressed about 5 freedoms, that is political freedom, economic freedom, social freedom, about the freedom of transparency and protective freedom. And if there is educational reforms, as I told you, literacy, I told you, educational reforms, health reforms, then political reforms, then the world will definitely change. Then here, so let us come back again. So here I want to make you understand that capability approach means the capability approach is defined by the choice of focus upon the moral significance of individual capacity. That is, it is capability approach, choice of focus upon the moral significance of an individual and valuable life of a person. And again, valuable life of a person. So, according to him, poverty is deprivation in the capability to live a good life. So here, what he want to say, poverty, he is emphasizing the major evil of the society, that is poverty. It is not deprivation in the capability. It is actually, it should not be, it is actually not the indicator of income. So according to Amartya Sen, poverty is deprivation in the capability to live a good life. So it is deprivation or deficiency of what? Capability. He says if you are not capable, if you are not able, then naturally poverty is going to happen to you. So he says deprivation in the capability to live a good life. So poverty is not an indicator of an income, but it is related with human activity. What is, or ability? Human ability means capability. So poverty is understood as deprivation in the capability to live a good life, and development is understood as capability expansion. So poverty is deprivation in capability, and so development is, what is development then? Development is expansion of capability. That is, development is capability expansion. Development is capability expansion. So capability approach was developed by Sen after the Cold War and increasing globalization. That is, I told you, in 1980s it was developed. So it was after the Cold War and increasing globalization and liberalization happening all over the world. So it emerged because of inequalities. Why it emerged? Because of inequalities in societies. Due to the inequalities, the rights seem to be pushed towards the margin. The human rights seem to be pushed towards the margin. So the idea, so there was so much of inequalities, so much of unrest among the people. So the idea of measuring well-being, well-being means to live in a good standard of life in a healthy way. To idea of measuring well-being. Idea of measuring well-being was one of the core concepts of capability approach. This was a core concept because Amartya Sen wanted to measure the well-being of the society, and that became the core concept of capability approach. So how people utilize these resources and come out of poverty and have a good life and standard of life. It is related to people's freedom and choice they make. So how they come out of this how these people well-being, how they can have their well-being, how they utilize these resources. They should know to utilize the resources and come out of poverty and have a good life and standard of living. And it is related to people's freedom and choice. It is related to freedom, people's freedom and choice. Good life is in their, it is their choice. Okay, and the freedom to utilize those things is also in their hands. So income is a medium through which we can attain the capabilities. It is not an indicator of poverty at all. So every human being may not be the same. Here Amartya Sen want to clear this concept that every human being may not be the same, and every human being have different capacities to perform even though they have resources. So all are different, all have different capacities even though they have resources. Like first one is every individual is different. Every individual is different. They have different capacities, isn't it? Some may be able-bodied, some may not be. They may be unhealthy, or they may not be having the same resources like that. Then secondly, access to resources is different for each individual. Secondly, access to resources to each individual is different. Access to resources is different for different individuals. For example, access to resources for a poor person is different, and access to resources for a rich person is also different, and it depends upon the environment he is brought up. So like that. Thirdly, converting into well-being is different for different individuals in different contexts and communities, and converting these resources into well-being is also different for different individuals in different contexts and communities. For example, in our Indian culture, take an example of Indian culture. When woman is married, every woman is not allowed to work. Because of that, she might be very resourceful, she may be very capable, but she may not be allowed to use that resource. She may not be able to convert, because she may not be allowed to work for it. She is not able to give the output whatever she has gained in throughout the years, that is education or education qualifications or professional qualifications. She may not be allowed to work, and she is not able to convert it into well-being, isn't it? So in other contexts or in other communities, people may be allowing that same woman to go out and work, and her education qualification and professions is maybe giving her lot of fruits. So that resources is converting, she is able to convert into a well-being. So here, that's what I am saying, converting that resources into well-being differs in different individuals. So according to Sen, individuals can differ greatly in their abilities to convert the same resources into valuable functioning. So what is the core element or core structure of capability approach? Core element or core structure of capability approach. First is, it is based on functioning and capability. It is based on functioning and capability. Functioning means doing, and capability means here freedom or the resources, whatever you can say, isn't it? Functioning a state of being and doing, such as being well nourished, having shelter, way of doing, and all these things. Capability refers to the set of valuable functioning that a person has effective access to. Thus a person's capability presents the effective freedom of an individual to choose between different functioning combination, that is between kinds of life. Basic capabilities such as what are the basic capabilities? Education, health. Understood? If these are the basic capabilities, and the nutrition, shelter. Okay, nutrition, shelter. These are the basic. In India, different. So functioning and capability is this should be education, health, nutrition, and shelter. If they have the freedom, if they get the capabilities, then only it will be functioning. That is example, in India, different schemes and programs started as the result of this capability approach. That is, in India, government introduced right to education, right to health, right to citizenship, all these things. Okay. Next is the capability approach is actually functioning or is a function of choice and freedom. Choice means functioning, and freedom, this is choice and freedom. Choice means functioning and freedom means capability. He may or may not be doing this. He may choose to do or may not be. And the ability, capability is freedom. that is educational, health, nutrition, shelter. So capable of doing or translating it into a resourceful, because he may be a qualified person, but it is his or her choice whether he should do that. He should do it as a functioning. He may not continue it as a engineer or as a teacher. He may not, though he has qualified, he may not be using his proper professional qualifications. So it is depends upon the ability. If we have capabilities or access to resources, then able to convert them to resource to live a life as I want. That is, this refers to freedom. So capability approach focuses on what individuals are effectively able to do based on their capacities. That's capability approach. Emphasis purposeful capabilities such as ability to engage in secondly, core element of capability approach is emphasis purposeful activities. It emphasizes purposeful activities. That is, such as ability to engage in economic transaction or participate in political activities. So it emphasizes on purposeful capabilities or activities such as ability to engage in economic transaction or participate in political activities, etc. Some argues one could be stripped of such capabilities for many reasons, such as he can be stripped of such capabilities for many reasons, such as ignorance. Ignorance means he is not getting any educational right like that. Government oppression, isn't it? Ignorance, government oppression. So he can be stripped of these capabilities. He won't be getting the capability. He won't be able to develop his capability because of government oppression or because of ignorance. How ignorance happens? Because he is not getting any educational facilities. Then lack of financial resources. That is, he is not giving lack of financial resources. He is not giving any economic freedom or economic rights. So he will be stripped of these capabilities if he is devoid of government educational facilities, or he is having any government operations, or lack of financial assistance. So poverty is understood as capability deficiency or deprivation in sense views. So which is a main devil here? Poverty is the first or the main devil. What the capability approach considers important is that individuals should have the freedom to be able to make choice for the enhancement of quality of life, for removing any obstacle that stands in the way of expanding their abilities. Here I'll make you understand diagrammatically, then the concept will be very clear. So here what the capability approach considers, capability approach, I am writing in short, capability approach, what it considers individuals, should have, what they should have? Freedom. So the importance is given to freedom. Okay, this freedom is given importance. Individuals should have freedom. Why freedom? To be able to make choices for their enhancement. To be able to make choices for enhancement. Choices for enhancement. Enhancement here means development. Choices for enhancement. When they get the freedom, they will have the choice for their enhancement of quality of life. Quality of life. Why they should have choice for enhancement? Quality of life. By removing any obstacle that stands in the way of expanding abilities. How? By removing any obstacle that stands. By removing how? By removing obstacles that stands in the way of expanding abilities. What is the abilities? Educational, political empowerment and economic reforms. That is abilities. Obstacles, abilities. That means capability approach considers individuals should have freedom. They should have freedom for what? To be able to make choices for the enhancement of quality of life by removing any obstacle. No obstacles should be there. What kind of obstacle I told you now? Like educational ignorance, then political oppression, then lack of economic facilities. These are the obstacles. So that stands in the way of, these are the obstacles which stands in the way of expanding their abilities. So in capability approach, poverty is understood as deprivation in the capability to live a good life, and development is understood as capability expansion. As I have already told you, capability expansion means development, poverty means deprivation in the capability. So Amartya Sen was looking for a practical approach of justice which is capable of elimination of all kinds of injustice in society. So he was looking for a practical kind of justice which is helpful in eliminating all kinds of injustice happening in the society. It is for this reason Amartya Sen develops capability approach as a unique tool for evaluating issues like poverty, well-being, development, justice and inequality, etc. Amartya Sen's capability approach lays emphasis on Amartya Sen's capability approach lays emphasis on what? Emphasis on the on human lives and not just on the resources of the people. He emphasizes on human lives. And not on the resources of the people. Resources. So he believes that human life is more important. The abilities and capacities, that's why should be developed, so that to reduce this inequalities in the society, so that they are able to develop themselves. So capability approach focuses on purposeful capabilities of individual, such as the ability to participate in economic transaction or to engage in political activity, etc. So what are the ways to increase capabilities or equality of opportunities? What are the ways to increase capabilities or equalities of increase capabilities or equality of, how to provide equality of opportunity to the people? First one is public education system. There should be improvement in public education system or improvement of provision of public education system. What are the things they can do? Improvement in public education system: providing meals for the students, free education, free books and stationeries, free transportation and conveyance facilities, free hostels for the students, girl child education, adult education. So these are the facilities. And secondly, house public health system. Public health system. Improving public health system. A public health system, establishing of health centers or or introducing health insurances for the people, then providing nutritious food and vaccination facilities. This way we will be able to improve public health system. Thirdly is economic facilities. providing economic facilities. What are the economic facilities through which the condition can be improved? That is, there should be market stability, public transportation, free public transportation, employment guarantee plans, introduction of employment guarantee plans, training for various skills, then providing a free ration of free food items to the people, then or at a reasonable cost, not free, at least at a reasonable cost. Then fourthly, social security, providing or improving social security system. Social security system. How they are going to improve this social security system? By providing unemployment allowances, old age pensions, widow pension, encouragement for disabled, scholarships, reservations, population control schemes, then public safety, policing, etc. These are the ways through which the social security system can be improved, as to improve or to increase the capabilities of the individuals, especially of the poor section of the society. Then fifth is environment conservation. Fifth is environment conservation. Through environment conservation also, things can be brought into a very good standard, that is tree plantation, pollution control, establishment of public parks. These are also essential for the development of the human quality. Okay. The next is political opportunities. Political opportunities. Providing political opportunities or improving the political opportunities, giving political freedom to this. As we are a democratic country, the political freedom of the individual should be improved. Then right to land acquisition policy should be introduced. Then seventh one to increase the capability is fulfillment of basic amenities. Fulfillment of basic amenities, that is very essential for increasing the capabilities of the individual. That is electricity, provision of electricity, good road system, transportation, water supply, etc., etc., like that. So Amartya Sen's capital approach could help or assist in changing the outlook of the concept of development of society. So due to this capability approach, it has helped us to change the total outlook on the concept of development of the society. We used to take only income as indicator for development of this society, but it's not. Amartya Sen tried to explain many things, that is ability or capability of the improving ability or capability of the individual is more important in the development of the society. So government started, because of his concept, because of his theories he has propounded, government got inspiration and ideas, and government started providing many facilities and introduced schemes for bringing stability and self-reliance in the society. So one more thing I just want to conclude. See, the Human Development Report that is framed by UN, Human Development Report, that is United Nations organizations develops Human Development Report, and that report is developed through socio-economic indicators submitted they refer to Amartya Sen's report of social economic indicators he has given, that is what is the condition of the socio-economic conditions of the society, and through that because of this book of socio-economic indicators, they get a lot of help in framing human all those things. So in UN get a lot of assistance in framing that. So I think you come to know this is very much helpful in understanding his theory of capability approach. You understood well. So thank you.